Happy Thursday to you, and welcome on in to another edition of WagerTalk Extra. We're here to remind you that no matter what you're cashing on, that money's all going to spend the same, be it in boxing, UFC, or how about a little auto racing? We're going to be talking today with Andy Lang. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and happy to be with you for a Thursday edition. As I mentioned, Andy Lang coming on here at the top, and then we're going to be joined by the birthday boy, Kyle Anthony, stopping by for his thoughts on the UFC card this weekend, UFC Fight Night from Las Vegas. And he's got a fight to watch in this one, which might be the most obvious fight to watch ever. What are we talking about? You'll have to stay tuned to the end to find out, because right here at the top, want to welcome in the unofficial, yet somewhat official co-host of the show, Andy Lang, joining us. And Andy, man, happy to be here with you. We're going to get into the auto racing, which has been profitable for you terrifically since you got here with Wager Talk. But before that, man, how's it going? And also tell the people about the 4%er that you got rocking, because you're doing basically every sport there is, man.
Yeah, we're doing really good. Nice little short-term run on NBA 4-0. We did something similar last season where I think we got up to 14 or 15 in a row wins in NBA. So we're looking to try and repeat that. It was weird around the exact same time of year. So 4% NBA play goes off tonight. We were 2-0 last night. So and it's a player prop, as you know. I specialize in player props with these main sports. So yeah, we're excited to cash on that. We got a 5% Super Bowl play that is up, 20-8 run on those, and then of course we've got our auto racing and golf special. So a lot of good things cooking for us at Wager Talk.
Yeah, also very exciting that tomorrow morning here on WagerTalk TV, 10 a.m., it's one of my favorite shows of the years. It's the Propsies on Prop It Up. So all kinds of good things happening on WagerTalk TV, and all good things happening to the bankrolls of people riding with my man Andy Lang. Also, one of the shows that I love that you did that we're going to incorporate in here with WagerTalk Extra, I was your producer for Life in the Fast Lane, where we take a look at NASCAR action, and it's going to be housed right in here in Wager Talk Extra. All of your favorite shows coming together as one. So I know that this weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the Clash at Daytona, but how about we just start off with more of an overview of life in the fast lane? All year long, we'll be bringing you some NASCAR action. And what are we looking for heading into this season, Andy?
You were so close. It's Clash at the Coliseum. Coliseum it's in Los Angeles. It was a really cool race that they did last year. This is the second year that they've done this. They debuted the next gen cars last year, and so this year we're gonna have a lot more information on the car. So it should be a little bit less chaotic, but sometimes chaos works better for viewing purposes. So yeah, we're coming off a really good NASCAR season. Joey Logano's your champion, so he's gonna be looking to defend that title. And we've got a few bigger stories going on coming into the season. I would say the biggest one are a couple of the new drivers on new teams. So we've got Tyler Reddick, who is moving to the 23XI racing team. That is the team that Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin are part owners on. You got Kyle Busch. It's going to be so weird if you've watched the sport. Kyle Busch driving for Richard Childress Racing. I still can't believe it. And then the one I'm most excited about from a betting perspective is AJ Allmendinger finally getting a full-time ride. He is a road course specialist, but he really improved his finishes on ovals. And I think he's going to have a really good year, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. He seemed really motivated in his races last year. He raced with a pretty decent car, and I expect that the continuity and consistency of him week in and week out being a part of the NASCAR circuit is really going to help him. So I think AJ Allmendinger is going to be a really, really nice bet on driver to start. And then we've got Ty Gibbs, as the grandson of Joe Gibbs. He's replacing Kyle Busch. We knew this move was coming, so they decided to pull the trigger on that. Couple of interesting storylines. If you lose a wheel in pit lane now, it is a massive, massive penalty. So the pit crews are always a huge part of the team, but this year they're more important than ever. If you lose a tire in pit lane, you're going to go down several laps, and it's going to be almost impossible to get back on that lead lap unless you get some cautions. So there's some really important storylines to to keep your eye on, especially when we start the season. The Clash this weekend, they're going to run some heat races to determine the starting lineup. So we don't have any don't have any really good lines on head-to-head matchups or props or anything for that one. But one storyline I would keep my eye on that was profitable last year, and it could be profitable again, is Chevrolet's, Dan, won 19 races last year. And when they put these props out about which, manufacturer will win the race, if you would have just blindly bet Chevrolets, you would have come out way ahead because these are all plus money. So over half of the races were won by Chevrolets. So maybe a blind bet every single race this season on Chevrolets might be pretty good. Kyle Busch is out of a Toyota, so maybe that takes away a potential contender on Toyotas, but should be another really good profitable season. We bet well on the Clash last year, so I would expect for me to have some bets for this weekend. And then we'll be off for a little bit. We go to the Daytona 500, and then buckle up. We got auto racing for the rest of the season.
That's that American made right there, a little Chevy action. And lesson to the viewers out there: you just let the experts be the experts, because I try and do a little prep work and then throw it to the Clash at Daytona, Andy. So I too, live lesson learned. That's why we're talking the extra sports here with these extra experts. And I'll leave it to my man Andy Lang. One thing I have learned more and more about, but I'm not even going to purport to be even somewhat of an expert on. Formula One, man, is more popular than ever. I think a lot of that has to do with that great Netflix show, the Drive to Survive show. That continues to get renewed. So as we head to the slipstream, what are we looking forward to as F1 kicks off?
Well, Dan, you're absolutely right. The Netflix show completely fired up the American audience. And I've never thought I would see the day that there was this many casual fans betting on Formula One like I have. I've been betting Formula One for a decade. And so last year was just a real surprise that we needed to incorporate Formula One content at WagerTalk. I'm excited. I get fired up about Formula One. And one of the best things about Formula One is you can bet on the race. You can bet on qualifying. You can even bet on practice sessions. And all of plays that I put out, and we do have qualifying plays and we do have practice plays, all of those will be included with our racing pack. So when Formula One comes around, don't just expect a play on the race. Expect to have plays coming throughout the week as they go through qualifying and going through practice. So some of the big storylines, you've obviously got Red Bull Racing, Ferrari, and Mercedes as the big three. They return all of their drivers. I would say Alpine is next. McLaren is behind Alpines, and I think they're going to struggle a little bit earlier. Lando Norris returns, but Daniel Ricciardo is not returning for McLaren. They've replaced him with a young prospect who's going to be good, but I see struggles for him to start the year. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get his footing. He comes from Formula 3. He's a champ there, but this is the big boy league. So next you got Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. I think those are kind of in a tier by itself. And then you got Haas, AlphaTauri, and Williams kind of rounding out the bottom. So the big story, can Red Bull and Max Verstappen repeat its dominance? And they're up against it a little bit. They got fined, and what their big fine was, they don't get enough time in the wind tunnels in the offseason as the other teams do. And that's a pretty big deal for testing. Now, the big story, can Ferrari and Mercedes close the gap between themselves and Max Verstappen? At the beginning of the year, I just don't think they're going to have enough. Verstappen was so lights out better than them that they're going to have to make incredibly huge changes just to try and keep up. So keeping up with Verstappen is one thing, but being able to pass him and stay ahead of him is another. They've done a couple things for the tech specs on the cars. The cars are going to be just a little bit higher, I believe 15 millimeters higher than they were last year. That's to attack the porpoising issues that we saw. I expect Ferrari and Mercedes to make gains as the season progresses, but to start, I think you're still going to get value on Max Verstappen. He's even money to win the first race. I'm certainly not putting my money against Max Verstappen. It'll be interesting. And the other big storyline coming from Red Bull, they've got a little controversy with that team. Those two teammates had some dust-ups at the end of the year. I don't think everything's kosher there. And why is that important? Well, teammates help each other in Formula One.
Yeah.
There were several times Max Verstappen was out in the lead and Sergio Perez, his teammate, held up somebody that was charging fast. that could be an issue moving forward with Red Bull. That being said, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen know what's at stake. They know if they continue to keep disobeying team orders, there could be consequences and repercussions like not driving for Red Bull Racing and moving down to a lower team. But it's something to keep your eye on. I'm still gonna have Red Bull as the favorite. As the
Yep.
season moves on, maybe some of these teams make some upgrades, but for now, it's Max Verstappen's season to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's Max Verstappen, or maybe as you would hear on TikTok, Max Verstappen him. Yeah, the guy, all he does is win. That's for sure, Andy. So, man, speaking of all you do is win, how about this golf and auto racing pack that you have up? Just $2.99, and it'll get people the entire season of all access in both golf and auto racing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. Both of those have been pretty darn good with your time at Wager Talk, correct?
Yeah, never had a losing season in either sport. We ran this special last year and it was a home run, so we decided to do it again. We were plus 66 units combined in auto racing and golf in their respective seasons. So we're doing it again. It's still available at Wager Talk. We're off to a great start in golf. We've turned a profit in all four of the events. So we're looking forward to another big season in Formula One and NASCAR as well as golf. And if you get that pack, it's going to include every golf play. It's going to include every auto racing play from Formula One and NASCAR. So it's the best deal that we run for me. So take advantage of that at wagertalk.com.
Absolutely. That's Andy Lang. Appreciate you coming by, man. And in true Wager Talk Extra form, we talk NASCAR, we talk golf, and we talk UFC this week with Andy. All kinds of free plays. Best way to thank him, why don't you go grab that $2.99 season all access on golf and auto racing. As I mentioned, we talked UFC with Andy yesterday. Today, we're going to be joined by Kyle Anthony to get his thoughts on UFC Fight Night.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 58 on February 11, 2024. From your favorite Wager Talk or SportsMemo handicapper for only $11.99 versus a regular price of $19.99 for a total savings of $800. This limited time super discount basically is 52 weeks at $23 per week, less than the price of one 4% play, coming out to only $3.29 per day. With the cost of a 30-day all-access priced at $2.99, it is almost like getting 8 30-day all-access passes at no additional cost. As an added bonus, your all-access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl, the more additional days you get for free.
That's right. It's time for the birthday boy joining me, one of my favorite cappers here, and a guy who has made me so much money betting the UFC. It's Kyle Anthony. Whenever he's talking the octagon, you better listen. Kyle, welcome on to Wager Talk Extra. We're excited to have you as a main fixture here, breaking down some combat sports. How's it been, brother?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain. Like you said, it's my birthday, and I'm doing a little bit of a discount here. $200 off my yearly package. Last year, over 45 units. I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready to attack 2023.
Yeah, and if it's any indication of what you have coming for the client in 2023, just go back and check out how 2022 was. It was week after week after week of cashing, and Kyle and I got to have some live sweats get in Las Vegas as well. We got some plus money dogs home, though, so that's all that matters, man. So happy to be here with you. And again, take $200 off a year's all access. It's a little code that we have for the birthday gentleman here today. What, you can't be a year over 28, right? Like there's no way. There's no way. Yeah,
No way.
I won't make you date yourself here, Kyle.
I'm a growing boy.
Yeah, this is a safe space here. I won't make you drop any of that, but I'm the one with the gray hair all over here, so I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, man, let's start off with a fight to watch, and you really came with a real brain buster here, because your fight to watch is the one that's the main event. So the most apropos fight to watch that I think we've ever had here, and it's Derrick Lewis taking on Serghei Spivac, and both of these guys, man, serious power is what we're going to have out of both of these guys in Derrick Lewis and Spivak. So how are you breaking this one down?
Yeah, it's definitely the fight to watch because it's the big boys in the main event. Serghei Spivac minus 250 here, going against Derrick Lewis plus 190. And if you look at what these guys do well, it's going to be the knockout for Derrick Lewis. Listen, he looks for it. He's going to go to it. He's going to go to it early. He's going to go to it late. Whatever happens, he's got that nuclear option. He's going to be looking for it. But the thing here really that I think starts to make a lot of sense is it's going to be tough for him to stay standing. Spivak is very tough. He's a kind of guy that's going to bulldoze forward. Over his last two fights, he got that first takedown within the first 30 seconds. He is not going to want to stand with Lewis. I think it's going to be very difficult. And what I like that Spivak does is that he really does chain wrestle very well. He does not give up. He will push forward. He'll get his opponent up against the fence. He'll also not just shoot for a double leg. He'll not just shoot for a single leg. But what I like is he really tricks his opponents. He's not a guy that's just going to shoot one way. He has added in these inside trips when he's got the clinch. He's added nice hip tosses. He's picked up guys over his head like Greg Hardy, like Augusto Sakai. These are big boys in the division. That's going to really be very difficult. Now, Lewis, again, he could land that big shot. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see if that fight gets, the knockout happens early or Spivak can kind of grind him out over those 5 rounds. So it'll be very interesting to see kind of how that pans out.
Yeah, and he's looking to make it 2 wins in a row while Derrick Lewis is looking to take that sting out. So I don't know, as I hear you breaking that down, I didn't hear officially what you like, but I think you might be just rolling with the guy you got to lay a little chalk with. How are you going to be betting this? Because I hope your first play on WagerTalk Extra isn't telling me to eat $250 worth of chalk.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think when you're looking at this fight, I think that really the key part is Lewis can get up. Now he can get these takedowns, Spivak, and keep him and hold him down. And Lewis has the brute strength, not the technical strength, but the brute strength to just kind of throw his opponent off. But I think over time in this fight, in a 5-round fight, in a heavyweight division, I think this fight does not see the distance. I don't see either of these guys, whether Lewis lands the bomb or you got Spivak kind of grinding it out. But I really think that getting off the 250 number here, I think minus 155 on Spivak to win inside the distance is a great number because it's the most likely path. This is not going to a decision. It's going to be a finish. And I think Lewis, that first round could get dicey, but over time throughout those rounds, I think he just grinds on him, he wears on him, and he either gets that submission finish or he gets that knockout. So I think that Spivak is a great spot at minus 150 inside the distance.
Inside the distance is the way that we're going to attack it. And I was kind of joking tongue in cheek there saying, hey, don't make me eat the 250 chalk. Cause I think Kyle, before we get into the parlay buster and we take the look at the exact opposite side of a big favorite that could get home, especially in UFC and some of these money line predicated sports, for these recreational bettors that see, oh, you're going to tell me to lay a minus 250, like there can still be intrinsic value on a minus 250 if an expert like yourself would line it at minus 450, right?
And people don't really, exactly to your point, people don't really kind of see that. They think, oh, it's 300.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not looking to cap those. I'm not looking to really fine tune over and look for a minus 500 spot, but there is absolutely value in those spots. Sometimes they think, hey, the minus 250, the minus 300 number is wide enough to kind of keep where they want the price. And then you're looking at it and saying, this is a terrible number still because you can get over that. Yep. I would cap it at minus 450 and kind of thing. So absolutely, I think people kind of look at that. But it's MMA. You're going to have to look at those numbers as well.
Well, it's one of the buzzwords that we hear in sports betting media all the time. Value this, value that. Well, everybody thinks value means you're getting some crazy plus 1,000 dog home. Like, no, that's a needle in a haystack that sometimes will get home, but value takes many different forms. And I think the way that you cap UFC is a great way of doing it, is find a favorite that you like, a fight that you handicap that says inside the distance, you take that down by 100, a full dollar on the line, inside the distance for Spivak. I love it, man. So now let's flip the script and do a little parlay buster. One of my favorite segments from Inside the Distance, an underdog that might just ruin all these money line bettors where everybody's parlaying the favorites together. They can't all lose. We're just going to eat chalk all night. We're looking at a parlay buster here. Who do you think just might be playing spoiler on Saturday? A dog that might just get home?
Yeah, I think the one you're looking here is the parlay buster. I really think it's Da Un Jung minus 235. Now, listen, he should be the favorite, but this line is pretty wide. And if you look at what Devin Clark does, he's plus 205 in this spot. Is that the last few times he has shown to have a low fight IQ. He has done really, when he has the advantage, he's not taking advantage of it. He's not exploiting his opponent. He'll do really stupid things in really good spots where he should be taking advantage. And that's been one thing. But the other part of it was that Kutilava recently beat the brakes off this guy, broke his jaw, beat him badly. And since then, he has definitely had some timidness. He's been a little bit more in the pocket, a little bit more worried to get hit. Not like any UFC guy wants to get hit, but he's definitely a little bit more leery of being hit, and I get that. But if you look at what he does well, he's pretty good when it comes to durability, when he comes to cardio, he comes to wrestling, he comes to at least explosiveness. He has a lot of that. And when you look at what Zhang does, Zhang on the other side is pretty much predominantly a boxer. He has the power, he's big for the division, he's a strong guy. It's going to be tough to get him down. But if you're looking at what kind of Zhang, who he's fought, a lot of them are strikers. A lot of them are guys that are just going to sit in the pocket, exchange with him, fire with him. That's where Zhang wants to be. And someone like Clark is not going to allow that space. He's not going to allow the space to just kind of, hey, pick apart me from a distance, pick apart me. And now he hasn't really been tested. So I think this is a spot where it's going to get a little sweaty. It's going to get a little dicey. And this is even a spot, too, when you're looking at it, that I think it could be 1-1 going into the third. And at that point, there is no value on Zhang. If you're betting Zhang here, you got to be expecting a really a beating in that first round. And I just don't see it. I think it's scrappy. If you really look at Zhang also, not long ago, he fought Sam Alvey. No offense to Sam Alvey. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but he's 0-7-1 out of his last 8. The only tie that Sam Alvey had was against Zhang. So it's not that he's big, explosive guy. Both of these guys were recently knocked out. I just think this is a spot where it's dog or pass. I don't think there's any value here on Zhang at minus 230. I would probably cap this a lot less. But either way, I really think this is a spot where you got to have somebody like Zhang who's going to be getting taken down, wrestled, scrapped, and I do like a little sprinkle on Clark here at plus 205. And if you even want to get crazier, Clark via points is plus 500. A sprinkle. The very little sprinkle, but I just think overall, tread lightly on Zhang. I think this is going to be a sweaty one.
Man, if this one can get home for you, it's your birthday and you're the one giving out gifts. If we can get a plus 500 home. And also, maybe just even more of a cautionary tale. Sure, you can do a little sprinkle on that plus 205, but maybe just keep Zhang out of any of those parlays, as he's our parlay buster here today on WagerTalk Extra. Kyle, loved having you on, man. And this weekend's card, UFC Fight Night, there's some things that you probably that you like on this card, but next week's card, we're going to have you back, because it is one heck of a card next weekend. So I know you're going to be excited for that one, right?
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm trying. Again, the great thing about UFC is there's no off season. Our off season's maybe a month, so we're always looking at the next card. So even if this one may have some limited spots, there are some amazing opportunities for next card.
Yeah, I mean, there is no offseason. Even when there was like a global pandemic going on, they were like, we're going to find a way to be beating each other up in the octagon. TNDO for that one. That's Kyle Anthony. He was the #1 ROI capper. That's your return on investment in all sports in 2022. And you can ride with him for an entire year, just $4.99, taking $200 off a year all access. It'll get you every play. Last year, he was just shy in MMA of 45 units last year. So definitely grab that. No code needed. Just head on over wt.buzz/KA. You'll see the birthday promo loaded right there. Happy birthday to you, man. Appreciate you coming on. And that does it for us. First week in the books here on WagerTalk Extra. We will be back next week on Tuesday, breaking down all the ways to keep your bankroll happy on the other sports right here on WagerTalk Extra.